I'm Amanda Groves, Head of Product Marketing here at Crossbeam, and I am so thrilled to welcome you to the Connector Summit, our first ever customer event. Thank you so much for joining us here today. If you're familiar with our Supernode conference, you can think of Connector as a sister event to Supernode, maybe the little sister or the big sister, depending on how big we grow. While Supernode tends to address industry trends and thought leadership, here at Connector, we're going to leapfrog right over the academics and get straight to work today with practical plays from Crossbeam experts on how you and your entire go-to-market team can use Crossbeam every day. Now, because we love talking about partnerships here at Crossbeam, you'll notice each speaker will start their session with a must-have icebreaker question: who are your favorite partners? So in the spirit of Crossbeam, I'm going to share my favorite partners, which are Hoka's and Strava. As an average runner, I have to say, I can't leave my house without a pair of Hoka's and my Strava app synced and ready to track my running performance. What about you all? We would love to hear who your favorite partners are. Please pile on in the chat. All right, now let's get into what we'll be covering here today. The Connector Summit is purpose-built to help you get more value out of Crossbeam and answer that pesky what's next question to action those overlaps. You can expect 9 workshop-style sessions with everything from how to get your Crossbeam account up and running to how to surface ecosystem qualified leads and how to drive partner influence pipeline. Throughout each session, we'll share relevant resources with you that you can bookmark for later. And if and when inspiration strikes, you are welcomed and encouraged to take screenshots, share with your network, share on social media, but be sure to use the hashtag ConnectorSummit22. And don't worry, you'll be able to access the recordings from today's session on demand after the event. All right, so now let's officially kick off the summit with our keynote session, Your Ecosystem Maturity Journey. During this keynote, you'll hear from our VP of Partnerships, Chris Samila, and Head of Partnered, Adam Mihalski. During the session, we'll be covering the definition and levels of tech ecosystem maturity. We'll be sharing a big, new, exciting product announcement, and we'll be covering why ecosystem-led sales matters now more than ever before and how Crossbeam can help. Now, I'm joined by Chris Samila, our VP of Partnerships here at Crossbeam. Chris, thanks so much for being here.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you, Amanda. Super excited about the conversation today and to have the chance to participate in this amazing first Connector Summit.
Great. So before we dive into all things ecosystem maturity, Chris, we got to know, who are your favorite partners?
Yeah, so I thought a lot about this one kind of leading into the conversation. And I know we're talking a lot about innovations coming out of Crossbeam today and ecosystems. And I think actually one of the most inspiring partnerships I see out there, there's a company called the Ocean Cleanup. They are working on collecting, in essence, like millions and millions of tons of plastic out of this giant garbage patch we have floating in the Pacific Ocean, which is very distressing. But they're actually courting different partners to take this, in essence, trash and turn it into something of value. And that I think these types of partnerships where you have like entrepreneurial companies and nonprofits that are trying to find ways to make the world a better place, I think those are some of the most exciting brewing partnerships that I see out in the industry right now as things that are working in the kind of the clean tech world.
Thanks for sharing those partners, Chris. So inspiring. So on the topic of ecosystems, continuing that train of thought, let's define ecosystem maturity. Chris, what is ecosystem maturity and why does it matter?
Yeah, so this is Crossbeam's take on how do we actually assess and benchmark the efficacy of your technology partner program, which in many cases also involves integrations. So this maturity tells you what you're doing well today, what you could be doing, and really gives you kind of a roadmap on how do you mature your program so you can make the best impact on the business possible.
We've had over 600 partnership professionals participate in our tech ecosystem maturity diagnostic over the last year alone. Chris, can you talk through our approach to this diagnostic a little bit more?
Yes, this is a really exciting arc of work we took on, which was to in essence, help understand where these partner programs are at in their journey over time. And so we looked at things like the impact on churn from integrations. We looked at the availability of APIs so people could build integrations, whether they had a marketplace or a public directory for these partners and integrations. We looked at the KPIs of the organizations, partner tiers, a bunch of different characteristics in essence that could help us kind of measure where people are at on this journey. And then we took all those attributes and we dropped them into 4 distinct tiers of where someone's at in the maturity. The first level was Explorer, or level 1. And this is sort of like the foundational, like you have support to build something, but you lack really many processes or tooling to help support you. So this is the beginning of the journey, and there's a lot of excitement around it, and you're starting to build momentum towards actually maturing your program. And then in level 2, the producer, this is where you start to have manual processes being built out and attribution. You're starting to get some tooling in place, and you're starting to see the impact of integrations either helping on driving early momentum in your sales cycle or reducing churn characteristics for accounts that are using integrations. We jump up to level 3, connector. This is where you start to really get the tooling in place. You're using things like a partner ecosystem platform like a Crossbeam. You're building out scalable processes. You have more organization-wide support for what you're doing. And you're starting to take that partner data and feed it into other parts of the business, whether it's sales, marketing, or customer success. And then ultimately, we're excited for the companies that can get to that last level, which we call Supernode or level 4. This is where you really have automatic processes in place to really drive efficiency. You've got a humming organization, your attribution is rock solid, and you're really, that partner data is now fueling the growth for a lot of the teams around the partnerships organization. In many cases, this is still very aspirational for most of the people in the industry, because we are today still building out a lot of the tooling to let you do this. But there are so many activities happening right now where people are building sort of like the roadmap of all these processes. So again, this is also why it's a pretty exciting time to be in our industry.
Thanks so much for that breakdown, Chris. And we've heard that similar shared sentiment from our partnership professionals and customers. There's just so much excitement about the momentum we're seeing in the industry. Why do you think that is? Why is partnership so special right now?
Yeah, so I think this is a really interesting moment because in essence, partnerships is the last profession to get the focus and attention on the go-to-market team. If you think about sales and marketing, customer success, they've had literally the last 20 years of software development and process development to help them do their jobs better. And now with the advent, especially SaaS technology, the way that these solutions get to market has in essence opened up a bunch more surface area for partners to work with us to help us be successful. So if you think about historically, there's tons of amazing professionals that built channel partnerships at companies for the last few decades. But now we're in a world where the types of partners you work with are not just oriented around the transactional component of like actually selling the solution. So think of like resellers and distributors. We now have partners that are influencers. We have venture capital firms that are helping us. We have digital agencies and solutions engineers. We have all these different types of profiles of partners that should be working with us and influencing the sales opportunities and customer accounts, both during the sales process and after the sale is over. And so I think what's happening now is you're seeing this maturing of the industry where there's an acknowledgement of the value of why we should be doing those things with those partners. And then you're seeing technology, in essence, be created to support that motion. And this is where at Crossbeam today, this is where we're spending a ton of energy is how do we take that partner data that's unlocked through Crossbeam and help you bring that to other departments around the business to make your lives as partnership professionals way more efficient and ultimately the partner programs way more effective at your companies.
Thanks so much for that overview, Chris, and just a moment of appreciation for you. I know you've been doing a lot of this good work and partnership stewardship for the length of your career. So just thank you and appreciate you being here for this moment.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a fun time to be doing what we're doing. And so this is something that we're all collectively building together, both the professionals in our space, but also all the entrepreneurial companies that are building the tech to enable all of us. So today, I'm super pumped because we're going to get a chance to see all the latest things that Crossbeam has been building to make our lives as partnership professionals so much easier and ultimately create much more impact for our businesses. So have a wonderful time.
Thanks so much, Chris. Really excited to kick off the rest of the day. So you just got a closer look into tech ecosystems and hopefully have a better sense of where your organization sits on the maturity curve. If you are unsure, I really encourage you to take a look at the assessment that we've created. There was a link provided in the chat. So now I am joined by Adam Mahalski, head of Partnered, and so thrilled to have him here with us today. Welcome, Adam.
Thanks so much for having me today, Groves.
Of course, of course. All right, we're going to keep up with the partnerships theme. We love a theme here. Who, Adam, are your favorite partners that people must know?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would have to go with oil and vinegar. While some people might think that they don't mix, I'm a huge fan of salads, so I definitely use oil and vinegar more often than probably any other partners.
Great duo. We love the healthy choices, and I'm also a big fan. So solid partner duo there. We are so excited for this moment in particular during the Connector Summit. Here at Crossbeam, we truly believe ecosystem is everything. And it's not just everything to the partnerships team, right? It's everything to our marketing friends, our customer success team, our product team, and also the next big stop on the go-to-market team being sales. Ecosystem-led sales is the next big growth phase for mature and highly collaborative ecosystems. And that was a big reason why back in May, we acquired Partnered and brought in the wonderful team at Partnered like Adam and crew. And our teams have been working behind the scenes on something truly remarkable that we're excited to share with you all first here today. So everyone here on the line, we are thrilled to introduce you to Crossbeam's brand new product, Sales Edge.
Thanks so much, Groves. And we are extremely excited for this next era in Crossbeam. So I wanted to provide a little bit of color on what exactly is Sales Edge and where it kind of fits in. I think an easy way to kind of think about this is that if you think about Crossbeam as LinkedIn, where you can connect with your partners and share data amongst your partner network. The next phase of this is really kind of the equivalent of what you would call like LinkedIn Sales Navigator to LinkedIn, and that's what we're calling Crossbeam Sales Edge. It is live, available as of today, and anybody can access it who's either on the connector tier or the Supernode tier. And what it allows you to do is where Crossbeam was basically kind of built for the partner manager persona and the ability to basically share that data amongst organizations. Sales Edge is really taking that to the next level where you can take that data, make sure that you get it in front of your sales team who can ultimately action on it and turn that into partner source and partner influence revenue while helping them close their deals in a faster, more systematic way.
So I know this is something that our customers have been eager and hungry for a very long time. We're so excited for this moment. Would you be able to go just like one click deeper with a primer on ecosystem-led sales? As we take in this news, what does this mean for how companies think about sales?
Great question. So I think we're at an interesting point in time where how deals get done is kind of really changing. And I think anybody who's kind of on the front lines is definitely seeing this in their day to day. Generating sufficient pipeline is the number one challenge for sales teams. And cold outreach, where was extremely ineffective even pre-COVID, has become even more ineffective today. Now that this data set that exists across partnership organizations, you have kind of this interesting network that's being formed where salespeople can actually connect to share introductions, recommendations, and information on accounts, which could ultimately help them close their deals up to 50% faster with 200% larger deal sizes, and even 66% higher close rates. So a lot of this data has basically been unlocked because of Crossbeam. And sales leaders know that this is important. 85% of them believe that co-selling is a core sales skill set, but only about 50% of sales teams are actually efficient at co-selling. A lot of that is because the process today is just way too manual. It requires basically the partner manager to mine through all of this data, which at some companies could be, hundreds of partnerships, thousands of rows, if not millions of rows of data. Get that in front of the sales team, have their sales team, say that they want to connect with the partner, and then kind of have to be that liaison across teams. Incredibly manual process, which has kind of held this entire version of co-selling back.
That makes a lot of sense, Adam. Thank you so much. I know our sellers here have been in this position and they're eager to get into Sales Edge as well, just for the reasons you described. With that said, how does Sales Edge help reps build pipeline? Can you walk us through that?
100%. So this isn't the official term, but it's been called the coolest thing that's happened to co-selling. And the way that it operates is that with Crossbeam, you have all these like Crossbeam partner overlaps, which in Crossbeam Core, the Crossbeam that you know and love today, that was really the ability to kind of, share the data, create reports, and leverage it from a partner manager perspective. But salespeople are different. They live in their variety of tools, whether it be Salesforce, email, Slack, LinkedIn. These are the places where they live on a day-to-day basis. And if you're not interacting with them in those places, it's really, really tough to make sure that the information gets in front of them and something that they can actually action on. So that's really what Sales Edge does. It takes all of that Crossbeam data that you've effectively put together as the partnership team. Because we're connected with the CRM, we understand each salesperson's personal book of business, and we can cross-reference the two and push that data to them and those actionable insights to those places where they already live. So in Salesforce, via emails and weekly digests, directly in Slack whenever there's a new overlap that's relevant to them, or even in LinkedIn as they're actually prospecting and going through their day-to-day, we can actually just toss up an overlay that allows them to know that a partner is involved on that account, and when in one click actually get connected with that partner. Super cool, and I think it's really going to change the game for co-selling. All right, so let's jump into a live demo where I can show you exactly how Sales Edge operates. Like we discussed earlier, salespeople are busy, and one of the places that they're going to be for almost every single account is going to be LinkedIn. So now let's imagine I'm a salesperson who just got assigned a new account. It's called Apex Chat. If I go over here, one of the first things that I'm probably going to do is going to go scope it out to see who I should be speaking with at the company. So I'll make our way over to Apex Chat. And what you'll see over here is that the Sales Edge Chrome overlay is actually just going to automatically notice that we're looking at Apex Chat. It's going to cross-reference all of the data that's available in Crossbeam and find out and tell me, the salesperson, that two partners already have Apex Chat as a customer. Now, these partners over here would be Surfser and Holver. Now, if I want to go ahead and kick off a conversation to Surfser, because they've already closed this account, to ask them for an introduction or for a recommendation or even just information, in one click, I can go ahead and I can actually kick off that co-selling workflow over here. You'll see that Sales Edge is even going to pre-populate that, so it's quick and easy. And over here, we'll kick off the conversation between the two companies. What's super cool is that this conversation over here doesn't have to be the only one. We actually offer a whole bunch of functionality in the Sales Edge product under what we call Deal Navigator, where if I want to see all of the accounts and all of the overlaps, Deal Navigator will actually automatically look to my personalized book of business, cross-reference it, and allow me to quickly filter and do awesome advanced searches to find other opportunities for me to break into as well. So this is just a little bit of the functionality that's available here. There's a bunch of other stuff in terms of actually enriching the Salesforce widget so that you can action from there, pushing weekly digest emails to the salespeople, and even actioning on this information directly in Slack. This is going to help your sales team crush their quotas.
Thanks so much for showing us, Adam. I think seeing is believing, really helpful for the tour. So you alluded to this earlier, Crossbeam Core. Can you help us understand the relationship with the introduction of Sales Edge? How does this work with Crossbeam? What does that relationship look like?
Great question. So if you think about the Crossbeam that you know and love today, that's what we're rebranding and calling Crossbeam Core. It's the same Crossbeam that you've been using, you built your network on. Nothing's changing on that front. In fact, we're going to be releasing a lot of really awesome features over the coming months that we think are going to continue to improve that platform. With Crossbeam Core, it was really purpose-built for the partnership team and will continue to serve as the area where partnership teams can actually leverage to bolster their role and actually continue to create these partnerships and share data at scale. Crossbeam Sales Edge is a new addition, using that same metaphor that we were basically, or same analogy that we were talking about earlier. If you think about Crossbeam core is the actual network, then Crossbeam Sales Edge is basically a module that sits on top of that network, but it's persona built or specifically built for the salesperson. So when we're creating new functionality and when we're thinking about like how do we solve problems, we're really looking at it from the salesperson's lens. And whereas, in Crossbeam Core, you'd be thinking about things like automated account mapping. For Crossbeam Sales Edge, we're focusing on pushing actionable insights to salespeople in real time in the channels that they care about. Things like co-selling workflows and the ability to message across partners. And one thing that I do want to call out is Crossbeam Sales Edge, because it is built on top of Crossbeam Core, it does require a Crossbeam Core paid contract, which can be either connector tier or Supernode tier. As long as you have one of those, then you can get access to Crossbeam Sales Edge, but at an incremental cost.
Great. Thank you so much, Adam. This was wonderful. Kudos again to you and the entire team and Crossbeam. I mean, there's just been so much over the past 6 months, 8 months to bring this product to life, wrapped around Crossbeam as you just described. So with that, the launch is here and now. It's available. How can folks learn more about getting started with Sales Edge?
So to learn more, just visit the Crossbeam website. There's a lot more to see there.
Thanks so much for being here, Adam. Appreciate the Sales Edge tour.
Thanks so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of the Connector Summit.
Well, there you have it. That wraps our keynote session for our first ever Connector Summit. We covered the definition and 4 levels of tech ecosystem maturity. You got the first look at Sales Edge, Crossbeam's new sales solution. Woo, virtual raise hands. We're very excited about it, and you're going to hear more about it from us very soon as well. You also learned why ecosystem-led sales matters, truly now more than ever before, and how Crossbeam can help. Thank you so much for joining us for this keynote. As you enjoy the rest of the summit, a few reminders for you. We'll have small breaks throughout the day. Feel free to ask questions in the chat during each session. Throughout the day's sessions, we'll share links to relevant resources that pair nicely with the content you'll be watching. All these sessions will be available to you after the event. And surprise, we'll be announcing another special update at the end of the day, so please stick around to hear what it is. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of Connector Summit.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Rosenfeld. I'm the Customer Onboarding and Support Manager here at Crossbeam. Thank you for joining me in my session today, Getting Primed for Account Mapping with Partners in Crossbeam. Here at Crossbeam, we like to talk about our favorite partnerships. We think Crossbeam, we think partnerships. So I wanted to tell you my favorite partnership, which is Bugs Bunny and Michael Jordan. A big Space Jam fan over here. The original version, 96. Nothing against LeBron. The new one was fine, but you got to stick with the OG. All right, so what is this session about? We are going to be doing a warm-up for your account mapping. So getting your Crossbeam account up and running. The faster you and your partners are set up on Crossbeam, the faster you can begin your account mapping and building your partnership. I recommend logging into your account and following along for today's session. Today, I'm going to show you how you can invite your teammates into Crossbeam as well as your partners, how you can upload your data, create your populations. I'll get into what that means if you don't know yet, set up your data sharing rules, and then lastly about mapping the accounts. First things first, here at Crossbeam, we take your security very seriously. Trust is our business, and we have an amazing security portal that you can check out. You or your partners both can look at this. Your security and compliance team can come in and just see all of the frameworks, certifications, and regulations that apply to Crossbeam. We have all of these different compliance documents, SOC 2 Type 2 report, some GDPR, all of these documents, security white paper, pen tests, it goes on and on. So this has a lot of information that your team can come in here, they can request access, and then someone on our side can approve that, or you can reach out to your Crossbeam rep and they can get you direct access right away. This allows your team, your security team, to be self-serve when it comes to this information. They can even set up a notifications. So subscribe to new documentation as it comes in, maybe a new audit report or a new pen test is uploaded. We have the option to subscribe to the notifications. All right, now for the fun part, we're going to get into a Crossbeam account. I have a brand new account set up here, and you'll see this handy dandy setup guide. So this guide is going to take me through all of the items I need to do to get my Crossbeam account up and running. It's a nice checklist to keep you on track, make sure you're doing everything you need to get your account fully onboarded. So looking at this, let's actually start with inviting team members. When you sign up for Crossbeam account, you're going to be the first admin by default, but you can bring in up to 3 users in your free Explorer tier account with Crossbeam. Maybe there's more people on your partner team or a sales manager, marketing manager, whatever it is, you can invite them into Crossbeam, even control the role with different permission settings that they might have within accessing Crossbeam. So definitely bring your team in here, share the Crossbeam love. All right, moving on to inviting your partners. Inviting your partners into Crossbeam is simple, it's flexible. You can think of Crossbeam as LinkedIn. You want to bring your partners into Crossbeam just like you would add your new connections on LinkedIn. So we can do that a couple of ways. First, you have your own custom invite link. So you can send this to your partner, email, Slack, however it is you communicate with them. And when they click the link, it'll get that partnership initiated and you guys can then be connected within Crossbeam. Or you can invite directly through the interface down here. I'm going to invite Crossbeam. All right, so you'll see here that I now have my outgoing partnership request out to Crossbeam. Once that is accepted, this will be checked in my setup guide. But please know you can have unlimited partners in your Crossbeam account. So no need to stop at just one. You can keep it going, bring in your tech partners, your channel partners, your prospective partners, anyone that you want to work with in Crossbeam, bring them in, invite them on this page, or send them that custom invite link that you have. While we're talking about inviting partners into Crossbeam, what about finding new companies to partner with? That's where we recommend Partnerbase. Partnerbase is like Crunchbase, but for partnerships. It's this public database of partnerships that exists between B2B companies, and it's organized in this cool network graph, and you can also view it in a list view. So let's come in here. I'm going to show you using Crossbeam as an example. Again, You search a company, someone you're partnering with or want to partner with, and we're able to see here all of Crossbeam's partners in this network graph. And then down here, we have it listed in this partner list. You can come in and click on these partners, see their partners. So it's a great place to start, a nice jumping off point to see, all right, maybe my partner is working with a company that can fill a gap in my ecosystem. Let me see who they're working with. So it's a great place to dig into and see what's going on in your ecosystem. You can even come in to Partnerbase and create your free account and maintain your company's Partnerbase page here, and just make sure it's up to date and update it anytime you're getting new partners added. You can own this page for your company. Once we've invited our partners, let's move on to the next step of connecting our data into Crossbeam. Connecting your data gets rid of all of that spreadsheet swapping and the manual madness of comparing your accounts. So this is where you're going to bring your source of truth into Crossbeam to do your account mapping. You'll see on the data sources page, we have syncs inbound with Salesforce as well as HubSpot. If you're using one of these CRMs, definitely recommend setting up that sync. It's a great way to just set it and forget it. You're going to be doing dynamic updates of your information. You don't have to worry about stale data. You can do your account mapping in real time with up-to-date information. So it is wonderful. If you are not using one of these CRMs, don't worry. You can come down here, vote for yours that you do use. This will give our product team some insight into what maybe we should be building next here for you. We also have CSV Upload and Google Sheets. So if you're not using one of those CRMs, these are great alternatives as a way to get your information into Crossbeam. Once you upload the information on this page, don't worry, doesn't mean you're sharing any of that information with your partners or anyone. Think of Crossbeam as this data escrow service where you take your data from the source of truth, put it into Crossbeam, and then you can decide what you want to share with which partners. And with that, I'm going to pop into a demo account that's already fully onboarded just to show you a little bit of what that looks like. Here we're in CrowdBlossom. I'm going to come down to data sources, and you can see all of the different data sources that we have set up with CrowdBlossom, all of those that are active. I'm going to come into a Salesforce connection to give you some insights here. This is where you can control how frequently you're updating your information. So once a day, every 30 minutes, somewhere in between. Great way to just make sure, like I said earlier, everything is up to date and this information is updating dynamically. This is where you also can decide what fields you want to sync into Crossbeam. So these are the fields that you want to use to build out your segments of data, those populations that we'll get into in just a moment. Also fields that might be helpful for you to do some reporting, maybe region, account owner, things like that. So you definitely want to bring in any data points that you use to define your different stages of accounts, like account type, sales stage, things like that. Coming here, you can decide to sync additional fields or unsync fields. So a lot of control, and just to stress, does not mean you're sharing all of these data points. This is just in your view within Crossbeam. This data is powering our populations. I've been talking about them a bit, but let's get into what they really are. Populations are segments of your data, like your customers, your open opportunities, your prospects, and these are used to organize your data. Populations are the foundation of everything we do in Crossbeam. So you're going to set up yours, your partners have theirs set up, and that's when you can start to get a clear picture of, here are my open opportunities that my partner has as customers. Maybe their team can help me with things like who's the decision maker, what was budget like, things like that. And when you're looking at the populations, you'll see we have 3 standard ones: the customers, the open opportunities, and the prospects. These are set up, they're pretty broad because you can get more granular later on in Crossbeam reporting, but you definitely have the ability to create custom populations like churned accounts, closed lost accounts, things like that. You have complete control over how you define these populations. Everyone defines their accounts differently. I've had customers who defined their customers as sales stage equals happy. So you have to tell Crossbeam how we want to define these lists. And let me show you with a closed lost population. I'm brought to this population builder where I give it a name, option for a description, and then I'm going to select my data source. In this case, we'll do Salesforce, and I hit continue. This first brings in everything, but now I tell Crossbeam, how do I define a closed lost customer? And we see all of the different fields I'm syncing in from my Salesforce. You even can come back to that data sources page to bring in something additional if you don't see it on this page. But for me, I'm going to do sales stage is closed lost. I can preview this, see if it looks how I want it to, and then hit save. After you save your population, that's when we're going to set up your sharing rules. You have total control over what you're sharing in Crossbeam. You can share as little or as much as you want, and this can be customized for each partner. The 3 levels here, we have hidden, which means your partners can't see this population. They won't even know you made it. It's more so if you're just getting started and you want to make sure everything is set up correctly, or maybe you want to share it with some partners and hide it from others. So that's what's going on with hidden. Where overlap count, this is a great starting point, especially if you're vetting new or potential partners, prospective partners. Overlap counts let your partners see the number of accounts you have in common. So if 50 of your customers are their customers, they only see the number 50. They don't see who those accounts are or any details on the information. Next, we have sharing data. So using that example of 50 mutual customers, you can decide exactly what fields it is you want to share, when and only when there is that match. So definitely would want to share the account name, website, maybe share my account owner information so that our reps can sync up, do some co-selling. I can apply this default to all of my partners. So let's set that up. But I can still customize this for each partner. So let's see what that looks like with Crowd Blossom's partners. We're going to click into Bazala, and every partner that you have on Crossbeam is going to have this sharing settings tab. This is where you can change the sharing setting from the default. Maybe my prospects, I want to hide them from Bazala, or I want to share the information with them. You can make this change for every partner in any of your populations. Maybe as you establish more trust, you want to go back in and share additional opportunity data so your partner can help you with your pipeline, things like that. So just know you have complete control over what it is you're sharing with what partners for each of your populations. Coming to the overview, I just want to quickly roll through the account mapping matrix for you, and that's the grid down here. This is where I can compare my populations, customers, open opportunities, prospects, any custom ones, with my partners' standard populations, as well as custom. So what this grid is saying, 13 of my customers are also their customers, where 47 of my open opportunities are their open opportunities. Maybe we want to sync up our reps and get them going after these accounts together, pitch that integration. Down here, 90 of my prospects are Bazala customers. That's great to maybe get an introduction or have their team give us some insight so my team is not going in cold when it comes to these new accounts that maybe we just got as prospects. And there you have it. That is our warm-up to account mapping. Once you've done these steps, you can then get more into Crossbeam reporting, which is going to be covered later on in the summit. But today we went over the basic steps to get started. We went over inviting your team members and your partners, connecting your data, building out those populations, and all of the flexibility of Crossbeam sharing settings. So thank you for coming, and I hope you enjoyed the session.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Whalen, and I'm a customer success manager here at Crossbeam. Thanks for joining me for how to gain internal buy-in to build new integrations. Today, I'll be talking about how you can use Crossbeam to build a data-backed business case to gain leadership buy-in for new tech partnerships. You'll also be hearing from Ashi Aber, Head of Technology Partnerships at Gone. But first, I'll kick this off Crossbeam style and tell you my favorite partners, Seth and Ryan from the OC. They have the best relationship on the show. They are quick friends, they turn into brothers, and they really lift each other up over time. It's a real better together story. But enough millennial nostalgia. Let's talk about how you can start telling your better together story with your partners. Here's what I'll be talking about today. We know it's hard to grow a partner program from just a few integrations to dozens or even hundreds. To scale your ecosystem, you need real data and a process for evaluating where you spend your time and with whom. You owe it to yourself and your execs to really look at the data and justify why a partner is worth investing in and dedicating resources towards. When building a business case for a new tech integration, consider these 4 factors: customer use cases and value, the total addressable market and retention of monthly recurring revenue, potential pipeline creation, development effort. And remember, all of this assumes you've completed your Crossbeam account setup, including connecting with at least one partner, connecting a data source, may I recommend a CRM, creating standard populations, and sharing your data with partners. Factor 1, customer use cases and value. When you're getting started, make sure you can answer these questions. What pain points does this integration solve? How are customers solving for these pain points now? Are they using multiple tools or manually moving data between them? How much time does it take customers to manually solve these problems? Is the integration solving for a feature gap in my product? How will this integration make my customers' lives easier? Do we have customer feedback or requests for this integration? For this one, make sure to gather those data points because they'll really help you build your case. If you don't have them, you can compare customer overlaps with your partner in Crossbeam and build a report to identify some mutual accounts for you to do some discovery with. A pro tip for this one, check those customers' health scores to make sure that they're healthy accounts. Factor 2, calculate how much monthly recurring revenue you can retain by building the integration. For this one, let's go to Crossbeam's demo environment to get some overlap data. Click Partners on Crossbeam's homepage to view all partners you're connected with on Crossbeam. In this example, I'm Crowdblossom and my partner is Yard. We recommend connecting with partners early in your conversations. I've even seen mature partner programs establish an intake process for partners, which may include an intake form and a Crossbeam invite link. From the Partners page, click the partner you're evaluating. I'm clicking Yard. And then once you're on Yard's Partner Details page, use the account mapping matrix to view overlaps between your populations on the left and your partners, Yard's, on top. Crossbeam's standard populations make account mapping easy to navigate because they make it clear where each segment falls in the customer journey. Use the account mapping matrix to view the number of mutual customers you have in common. And then use data from your CRM to calculate the monthly recurring revenue your company can retain based on integration adoption rates. Let's look at how Crossbeam Customer Friend Buy calculates this using our sample data. In this example, we use Crossbeam to learn that Crowdblossom and Yard have 115 mutual customers. The total monthly recurring revenue for those mutual customers is $250,000. Let's assume an integration adoption rate of 75%, which means that in this example, MRR retention for this group of mutual customers could be $187,500 if an integration is built, since tech integrations will make your product stickier. A strong figure to take back to your leadership to drive enthusiasm for that tech integration and get the resources you need. How can they say no to that? And here's factor 3, understanding potential pipeline creation. For this one, let's stay on Yard's Partner Details page and use the account mapping matrix to visualize the overlaps between Crowdblossom's prospects and Yard's customers. You can use this number to calculate how much revenue you can potentially generate based on mutual accounts. Here's more sample data so you can see what I mean. Let's imagine that there are 5,000 Crowdblossom target accounts who are also prospects or opportunities of Yards. About 10% of those leads will convert to opportunities, which means that of that 5,000, there are 500 opportunities. Assume a 20% win rate, which means 101 deals. With an average deal size of $24,000, we can assume that an additional 101 opportunities means a potential $2.4 million in new business. This is another super impressive data point you can bring back to your leadership team. Factor 4, define the scope of development effort. Crossbeam Customer Dial Pad considers these questions when determining the scope of development work for a potential integration. What are the technical requirements for this integration? What kind of investment is required from a technology and resourcing standpoint? How can we scope this out over several development milestones? Here's some other questions you can consider too. What's the maturity of the partner's ecosystem and integration capabilities? What kind of documentation is there on the prospective partner's API? Who's the champion on the partner's side? If there's a partner manager or engineering resources, that's a good indication that the integration will actually happen. Once you've completed this analysis, you can use it to build an internal business case. You've done your research and you have the data to present to your product and leadership teams. Now let's hear from Ashi Aber, Head of Technology Partnerships at Gong, to learn how he's using partner data to vet tech partners and gain internal buy-in.
We had a chat with Ashi Aber to understand how he uses Crossbeam at Gong. Introduce yourself, Ashi.
Hey, I'm Ashi Aber, Head of Technology Partnerships at Gong.
In the spirit of Crossbeam, we'd like to know, what is your favorite partnership?
By far, it has to be falafel and a pita. So you can have falafel as like in falafel balls alone, but the partnership between falafel balls and pita is just ideal.
Tell us about your role at Gong.
Yeah, as Head of Technology Partnerships at Gong, I manage all of our technology partnerships. So if you're not yet familiar with Gong Collective, just go out there, Google Gong Collective, and you'll see well over 100 applications that Gong is integrated with. All of those integrations sit under Gong Collective, and that is under my responsibility.
How are you using data to vet prospective partners?
What we expose within Crossbeam is several fields. Field number one, and most important from my perspective in terms of the product integration, is number of overlap customers and number of open opportunities we have. If we have 500 mutual customers and then we have another 1,200 open opportunities together, that to me is a healthy potential as a partner. But then there is one more field that's critical for the go-to-market organization, and that is the field of prospects that are the partner's customer and vice versa, because that represents the opportunity, the net new business opportunity. So once we've connected on Crossbeam, we'll start to identify what the opportunity is. From there, we'll build a business case and then try to assess with the partner what the effort would be to build the integration to complete the partnership. Just to close that circle, once the integration is built, that's an ongoing relationship. So we're not going to disconnect from Crossbeam. We'll stay connected on Crossbeam. This is actually a go-to-market solution that our salespeople are using day in, day out as they're speaking with prospects and customers to identify which of our technology partners they're using as vendors so that they can add additional value when they're buying Gong.
How are you saving time using Crossbeam?
It's impacted the speed of how we operate significantly. In the old days, quote unquote old days, we had to, either take a pen and paper and share some customer names, and then moving forward, we would have spreadsheets that we would share. But fast forward to Crossbeam, we're able to share the fields we share to start with in a very secure environment, and then on a click of a button, literally get everything we need in order to make a decision, move forward or not move forward.
How do you prioritize your partners?
If we have a very low number of mutual customers, that is not going to be interesting for us to go and invest resources in a partnership with this vendor. But if we have, call it 5 different partners within one category we want to partner with, one prospective partner has 550 mutual customers with us and the other has 20, we're going to probably start with the one with the highest number of mutual customers, because that is going to impact the highest number of our customers right off the bat.
Thanks for dropping by, Ashi. Anything else you'd like to add?
So I just want to say I'm really glad we ended up using Crossbeam. It's really changed how I operate with partners and tech partners in particular. So thank you, Crossbeam, for building a great product.
And that's it. That concludes my session, how to gain internal buy-in to build new integrations. To recap, we covered these 4 factors to consider for vetting partners and gaining internal buy-in: customer use cases and value, the total addressable market and MRR retention, potential pipeline creation, and development effort. Can't wait to see those ecosystems grow. Thanks again for joining me.
Hey, it's break time. Enjoy some partnership facts while you wait.
Hi folks, I'm Amanda Merlane and I'm a Senior Customer Success Specialist here at Crossbeam. Thanks for joining me in my session, Quick Tips for Crossbeam Account Management and Data Hygiene. I'd like to start out by sharing my favorite partners with you. They are Shaggy and Scooby-Doo. They're two peas in a pod. They're always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And although needing to be lured by food, they always manage to solve that crime. As you expand your network in Crossbeam and grow your ecosystem, you're going to want to ensure your account is in great shape to support you. So in this session, I'm going to share tips for organizing and managing your Crossbeam account. So open up your Crossbeam account and follow along. Today, I'm going to share some quick tips for keeping your data sources fresh, managing teammates and roles, maintaining those sharing rules, identifying and organizing your partners, and lastly, categorizing and organizing your reports. So please remember one thing. All of this is going to assume that you've completed those onboarding steps of connecting that data source, connecting with at least one partner, creating those 3 standard populations, and lastly, sharing data with at least one partner. So let's kick this off by sharing some tips for keeping your connected data sources fresh. If you're using a CRM connection, you may have stayed more on the reserve side when you first made that sync. You always have the option to come over to your profile, come down here to data sources, and this is where you can bring in additional data to enrich those account mapping efforts. So you're going to click your data connection, these 3 dots, come down to settings, and this is where you can add in additional fields such as tier, region, or even health score. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind is when you sync these additional fields, that doesn't mean you have to share this data with your partners, but you'll be able to utilize this when you're creating those reports. So once you've made that additional selection, you can hit Save Changes and you're going to see those fields in your Crossbeam account. If you don't want to deal with those pesky CSVs and you want to dynamically update your data, you can utilize our Google Sheets. Here, you always have the option to update that frequency. This allows you to control how often that data is synced into Crossbeam. Or if you've just added data to that Google Sheets and you want to see it immediately, you can choose the Sync Now option. If you're utilizing CSV uploads, we want to be sure that you're keeping those neat and tidy. So we recommend setting weekly or monthly reminders to come in here and be sure to remove any stale CSVs or add in any new data to keep those populations up to date. Okay, now a tip for managing sharing rules. So when you first built out your populations, you were prompted to set a default sharing setting. So let's head over to the Populations tab and take a look at that. When you click the pencil, these were the 3 options you had. Hidden means your partners cannot see those populations. Overlap counts will give them a numerical value, so they'll see 24 or 36, but no data. And then sharing data allows you to come in and select those fields that you want to share, again, at a default level. As you build and grow your partnerships, you're going to be more inclined to share additional data with partners. So you have that flexibility to customize these sharing settings on a partner level. So let's head to this Partners tab and I'll show you how. Under the Partners tab, you're going to click on any of these partners listed. Click on Sharing Settings. This is going to list out your populations. And if we use Prospect as an example, we can see here that you have the sharing default of high-level overlap counts. If you want to customize that, you can click the pencil, Sharing Data, and this is where you have that opportunity where we chose to sync those additional fields. You can now share those fields with this specific partner, whether it be under the account object, which is where we brought in region, tier, or health score. And some of the various use cases for that would be, health score. You could take a look at your at-risk customers and work with your partnership to kind of turn that around. Another option would be to share the AE information, and this is going to allow the AEs to reach out directly to each other and work on specific accounts. Once the selection is done and you hit save, these changes will only affect this partner and nobody else. Next up, a tip for identifying and organizing your partners. You can organize and categorize your partners using our Partner Tags feature. Click on the Partners page. You'll see your partners listed out, and then we'll have this tag column. Tags are very easy to create. When you click this Add Tags button, you can click the drop down and attach a tag to this partner with one that you're already using. So if we wanted to click on Channel Partner, the other option you have is adding a new tag. So you type that in, hit Enter. When you hit Save, we're now going to see those tags attached to this specific partner. Now, when utilizing tags, it's going to allow you to come in here and search for that specific partner, so that way you can come in and work faster. There's a couple ways to do that. If you click the tag itself on Channel Partner, this is going to minimize your partner list and see your area of focus. To see your partners again, click on the tag itself, and we're going to see our 4 partners listed here. Another option to apply tags is to utilize our filter button. When you click filter, you have 2 options. You can apply tags with an and, so we could find any partners that are tech partners and have the partner account manager listed as Chris Smith. Hit apply, and that's going to show us our 1 partner that meets those requirements. To undo that, you can hit reset. It's going to bring your partners back. The other filter option is to utilize or. So we could come in here and say, let me see my tech partners or my channel partners. Hit apply. And again, that's going to list out those partners that meet those specific tags. We've seen customers tag their partners by partner type, tier, partner account manager, geographic region, life cycle stage, and even partner status. And finally, my last tip will help you categorize your reports. We're going to click on the reports page. Reports should be tied to actions and workflows, so keep this in mind when naming your reports. A great example for a name would be co-sell ready opportunities. Now, when creating reports, similar to tags, you want to keep these reports organized. You can do that by clicking the New Folder button, typing in that report name, hit Create. We're going to see it listed above, and you have 2 options to move that report into this folder. You can simply click it and drag and drop it into that folder, or you can click Move Report, find that associated folder, and it's going to tell you the report has been moved. By creating that report folder, it's going to allow you to come in here and find that report quicker. You'll want to create report folders that fit your use cases or categorize them in various ways. Partner type, partner name, tier, partner manager, partner activity, or even geographic region. Well, there you have it. That's a wrap on my quick tips for Crossbeam account management and data hygiene. We covered multiple tips for keeping your data sources fresh, managing your teammates and roles, maintaining those sharing rules, identifying and organizing your partners, and lastly, categorizing and organizing your reports. So you have what you need to keep your account clean and fresh. Now get to it.
I'm Jessica Mullen. I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager here at Crossbeam. Thanks for joining my session, Best Practices for Sourcing Ecosystem Qualified Leads. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to surface ecosystem qualified leads for your team using Crossbeam reports, our Slack app, and our Chrome extension. You'll also hear some real-life examples from Thomas Flachet, Director of Partnerships at Botify. Now at Crossbeam, we're all about partnerships, so let me tell you about my favorite partnership that started when I was little, Calvin and Hobbes. I love them. They're my favorite partnership because they're best friends. I think they balance each other out really well. They make me laugh. And fun fact, my youngest daughter has a stuffed tiger named Tiggs who looks just like Hobbes, so I think it's perfect. All right, let's get started. In this session, we'll cover some best practices for sourcing EQLs and how to get them in the hands of your reps. Today, you'll learn how to define an EQL, empower your reps to surface EQLs in Chrome and Slack, identify your best EQLs in Crossbeam reports, and notify your reps of new EQLs. And remember, all of this assumes that you've completed your Crossbeam account setup, like connecting a data source, connecting with at least one partner, creating standard populations, and setting up your data sharing rules. And remember, to create reports in Crossbeam, your partners need to share data with you. Overlap counts are not enough. Let's jump into the first best practice. Define what an EQL means and make sure your team is aligned on this definition. So at Crossbeam, we define ecosystem qualified leads as net new leads that come directly from your partners in your ecosystem, typically through data sharing. You can get EQLs a few different ways. You can get them through direct referrals. For example, your partner introduces you to a key contact at a new account. Through data sharing, your partner could share a list of their customers with you within a partner ecosystem platform like Crossbeam, or by sending you a CSV file. And then reseller programs. Your partner sells your product for you on your behalf, requiring little or no resources from you. Through EQL, your partners can introduce you to new business, markets, verticals by funneling accounts into your pipeline that you hadn't considered targeting previously. They can also help you break into your top prospect accounts and help accelerate those into opportunities. The second best practice is to empower your reps to find EQLs. Your reps can surface potential EQLs in Chrome and in Slack. First, let me show you how to do this with our Chrome extension. Let's pretend I'm an SDR and I'm doing research on one of my target accounts, Attentive. I can search Attentive in Chrome, and Crossbeam's Chrome extension will notify me if there's an overlap with this account. I can click on Crossbeam's Chrome extension and see that this account, Attentive, overlaps with 3 of my partners, and all 3 partners have Attentive as a customer. Knowing this intel, I can personalize my outreach with our Better Together story with these partners to better increase my chances of breaking into this target account. That also increases your chance of building partner source pipeline. Now let's look at how to surface this data in Slack. Using Crossbeam's command /Crossbeam, I'm going to look up this account, Attentive. So in this example, I'm going to be Sarah and I'm an AE. So using this command, I can see that Attentive is in our prospects population and that it overlaps with 3 partners, Surfser, Halver, and Bizala, and all of those partners have Attentive as a customer, which is great. So now knowing this information, I could reach out to these partners. I could ask for some intel on this account. I could tailor my outreach to highlight our Better Together value prop to increase my chance of breaking into this account. Or better yet, I could ask one of these partners for a warm intro. The third best practice is to identify your best EQLs using Crossbeam reports. Let's hop into Crossbeam for this one.
I'm going to show you how to create an EQL-focused report in our demo account called CrowdBlossom. Let's head to the Reports tab and create a report. First, let's give the report a name and select our population. Let's compare this to all partners, as I'd like to see the accounts that overlap with multiple partners. When you select partners, you have to select the populations. Since I'm looking to break into these accounts, I want to focus on the partners that have these accounts as customers, as that'll give me a great chance of leveraging their relationship to break into these target accounts. Now I have a report of 235 companies that are prospects of ours, but customers of my partners. I can click the Overlaps With column here to sort this report to see which accounts overlap with multiple partners. Now I can tell that Imparity and Attentive both overlap with 3 partners, which is great. When partners are sharing AE information with you, by default, we'll bring that into your report as a column.
But to further enrich your knowledge of these overlapping accounts, click Configure Columns. You could bring in data from the Crossbeam side. Maybe you want to bring in your population name and your partner population name. You could bring in your data. So your source of truth, the fields that you're syncing into Crossbeam, can be selected here to be brought into your report as a column. You are not sharing this data with partners. You're simply using it for your own knowledge in this report. Data that partners are sharing with you, however, can be brought into this report here by simply clicking a field and adding it as a column. In this example, I'm just going to keep the region from Crowd Blossom. You can also drag to rearrange these columns in your report. Now when I hit save, I'll be able to see that region field front and center. If I'd like to become more focused on this report and drill down in a particular region, I could select this field, and I can focus on the EMEA region. Now I've reduced the report to 62 companies. I'm becoming more strategic about which prospect accounts I'm looking to break into. Let's take it a step further. Say I'm meeting with a rep, and we'd like to focus on Tracy. I could select Tracy in this report and run this report here with Tracy's name in the EMEA region. I now have 11 companies that are results. Now, when I meet with Tracy, we know when we speak to these partners next, the accounts that we can go after and ask for contacts, key decision makers. Maybe they want to shed some light on the procurement process, anything that they could help us do to help us break into this account. Once I have the report configured just as I want it, I can save this report. You've found these EQLs, but now what? That brings us to our fourth best practice: notify your reps of new EQLs. Remember, these EQLs have the potential to become partner source deals. So let's keep these EQLs top of mind for reps by setting up report notifications. This way, you and your team can get alerted when new overlaps emerge in a report. Let's click on this bell for the report I just created. Here I can see two different types of notification settings. One is through email. I'm going to add my email in here to be alerted of new overlaps. And the second is alerting through a Slack notification. Here I'm selecting our Slack channel, Ecosystem Qualified Leads. And once I hit save, when new overlaps emerge, let's take a look at what that looks like in Slack. Here I can see there's two new overlaps in that report, EQL All Partners. There's Amperity and Attentive. You could see here for Crowd Blossom, we have them as a prospect, and these three partners have them as a customer. So right away I can be alerted, great, this is my target account. I know that it overlaps with these three partners and they have them as a customer. Perfect opportunity to ask for some intel, possibly ask for a warm introduction, anything that these partners would be willing to do to help me break into these accounts. Let's talk about how our customer Gorgeous uses Slack notifications to streamline collaboration and drive more partner influence deals. I'll share two examples with you on how they do just that. Example number one, to streamline collaboration, Gorgeous has Slack Connect channels with some of their most engaged partners. Each channel gets notified when new overlaps occur in Crossbeam reports, and AEs are instantly alerted with Slack mentions. These Slack mentions have made their AEs way more proactive about seeking influence from partners on bigger deals. The second example is how they drive partner influence deals. Gorgeous has a Crossbeam report that compares their open opportunities to all partner customers, and they send report notifications to an internal Slack channel called Crossbeam Partner Influence. Every time Gorgeous has a deal that's in one of its two highest pricing plans, reps are notified in the channel and can see which partners are tied to that deal. This way, reps can work with those partners to get intel on the account or ask their partners to put a good word in on their behalf. Using this process, Gorgeous is seeing a 50% close rate on partner influence deals. Now let's hear how Thomas Flachet is sourcing EQLs for his team.
We had a chat with Thomas Flachet to understand how he's using Crossbeam at Botify. Introduce yourself, Thomas.
Hey everyone, I'm Thomas Flachet. I'm a Director of Partnership at Botify.
In the spirit of Crossbeam, we'd like to know, what is your favorite partnership?
My favorite partnership is cheese and wine. As you can tell, I'm French, and we love our cheese, and we love our wine as well.
Tell us about your role at Botify.
I'm the Director of Partnership at Botify, and more specifically, tech partnerships. And so as such, I manage our integration and as well as some of our alliance partnership in the US.
how are you identifying ecosystem qualified leads?
When I do that, I first look at our open ups and how they map to our partners' customers using Crossbeam reports. That is my first step. And then I usually look also at the opposite, meaning our customers and the partners' open ups, because I always want to make sure I look at both so that I can come to my monthly meeting with my partner, making sure that I can bring something to the table as much as I'm asking something. Another way we surface EQLs is through automation. I have 2 examples here of Slack messages that we send as soon as an opportunity is created. That's to make sure that they can sync together. Now that they have this information, they can talk to each other and see what's the best path forward.
What reports are you building to identify ecosystem qualified leads?
So we translated the data into dashboard in Salesforce, redoing the tile that you have in Crossbeam. And I have here an example of those dashboard. The AEs and BDR can see the number of accounts that overlaps with a specific partner. We also show that data per tier and per intent so that they have a better understanding of the potential of partners within their book. The other thing that we do is showing to the exec team, but also to the entire marketing team, the impact of partner in the revenue. And I have another example of a dashboard here where basically what we're trying to do is showing the ACV, showing the conversion rates, and how we compare to conversion rates when there is no partner involved. And something new that we've done with this dashboard is showing also the potential of partners. Basically, what we do is we look at our entire TAM, and we sum the average ACV per tier for that TAM. And so this gives us the partner TAM, like a big number of how much we could sign if we would sign 100% of our TAM in Salesforce.
Thanks for dropping by, Thomas. Anything you'd like to add?
Thank you, everyone. If you have any question, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, and have a great rest of your day.
That was awesome. Thanks, Thomas. Well, there you have it. That's a wrap for best practices for sourcing ecosystem qualified leads. As a recap, we covered best practices for defining an EQL, empowering your reps to surface EQLs in Chrome and Slack, identifying your best EQLs in reports, notifying your reps of new EQLs, and we heard some real-life examples from Thomas Flachet at Botify. Go get those EQLs. Bye.
I'm Badgett, and I'm a Strategic Customer Success Manager here at Crossbeam. Thanks for joining my session, How to Forecast and Manage Source and Influence Pipeline in Crossbeam. Today, I'll show you how to source and influence more deals using pipeline mapping with opportunity reports in Crossbeam. You'll also learn how Carlos Barrero, Strategic Tech Partner Manager at Klaviyo, is collaborating with partners on deals by giving and getting visibility into opportunity data. Before we get started, I'd like to share one of my favorite partnerships. As a Canadian, I would be remiss if I didn't mention a partnership from north of the border. For me, I would say that Eugene Levy and Catherine O'Hara are an iconic and hilarious duo. Now let's get started. In this session, you'll learn the definition of pipeline mapping, how to get started with opportunity reports, examples of reports, how to build an opportunity report, and real-world examples from Carlos Barrero at Klaviyo. And remember, all of this assumes you've completed your Crossbeam account setup, like connecting a data source, connecting with at least one partner, creating standard populations, and setting up your data sharing rules. Also, to build opportunity reports in Crossbeam, your partner will need to be sharing data with you. Overlap counts are not enough. Let's begin by defining pipeline mapping. We know account mapping is taking a list of accounts and cross-referencing or mapping it with a partner's list of accounts. Generally, these accounts include leads, prospects, open opportunities, or customers. Pipeline mapping takes the concept of account mapping a step further. Pipeline mapping is taking a list of opportunities and cross-referencing or mapping it with a partner's list of accounts or opportunities. Pipeline mapping leverages opportunity data, not just account data. Our customers use pipeline mapping to see which partners can help them push active deals forward, and vice versa. We have to keep that reciprocity in mind. Pipeline mapping with opportunity reports is a paid feature available beginning at Crossbeam's connector tier. Once you've unlocked opportunity reports, there are a couple of ways to use this feature. One way is to view your partner's opportunity data in a report. To do this, you must ensure your partner has a CRM connected as a data source, and at least one of your partner's populations is sharing opportunity data with you. Another way is to view your own opportunity data in a report. Here again, you have to have your CRM connected as a data source and be syncing opportunity data. Now that we have the basics out of the way, let's hop into Crossbeam and take a look at some opportunity reports. Before you can build a report, one very important point to note is that you need to be sure you are bringing opportunity data into Crossbeam from your CRM. In this example, the data source I am using in Crossbeam is Salesforce. If I choose all fields and then expand my opportunity object or table, I can now see all the fields that I am able to choose to sync. Perhaps I want to bring in fields like campaign ID and forecast category. I would go ahead and choose those fields, save changes, and then the next time the sync occurs, they will be available for me to add to my opportunity reports. Some of the common fields used in pipeline mapping are often amount, sales stage, close date, and days in pipeline, but you can certainly choose any fields that would be beneficial to you. Also, it's important to remember that although you are syncing these fields from your CRM, you are not sharing these fields with your partner. You are using them to simply enrich your reports. Let's see some examples of opportunity reports you can build. Here we have a report that we named Early Stage Opportunities Over $50,000. Here we're looking at our opportunities and understanding which of our partners can help on some stalled or competitive deals by possibly giving us intel about procurement experiences, decision makers, account health, and more. In this report, we are bringing in data from our CRM that is in the opportunity object or table, such as sales stage and amount, that we can then use as a filter to create the list of opportunities we can focus on. You can see that we have used the filters where the amount is greater than $50,000, and we chose our earlier sales stages to get the data we're looking for. Here's an example of another report. This one is called Late Stage ISV Opportunities. This will allow us to see which of our late stage deals can get an extra boost from our partners. Maybe they can put in a good word for us to help us push the deal over the finish line. Here again, we are bringing in the sales stage and amount, but this time we are using the sales stage filter to hone in on those deals that are in a later stage. Now that I've shown you some examples of opportunity reports, let's build one together so we can bring in some of that opportunity data and use filters to narrow down our results. In this example, I am a company called Crowdblossom, and I want to see my closed lost opportunities and compare them to one of my partner's customer lists to see if I can reopen the sales discussion and possibly win back their business. Here I'll go to the reports page and click on Create Report. Now I'll name my report. For my populations, I'm going to choose my open opportunities. And then I'm going to compare it to my partner called Yard. And I'm going to choose their customer population. Now I'll run the report. Now I want to bring some of my opportunity data into my report. I'll click on Configure Columns. And then I'll go to My Opportunity Data. And I'll choose the fields I want to bring in. So I'll choose amount, days in pipeline, and sales stage. And I'll just rearrange to bring that to the top. Now I'll save. Now I can see those 3 fields that I just brought in. Now in this circumstance, I only want to see my close lost sales stage, so I'll need to use a filter. So I'll click on Filters, then I'll add sales stage is close lost. And now I'll run the report. And now it's narrowed it down to just the 4 opportunities that were close lost. Perhaps we lost this deal with Optimizely because we lacked a key integration with Yard. Now that we're partnered with Yard and have the integration, perhaps we can win that account back. Maybe on my next call with Yard, now that I know they have a relationship with these companies, they may be able to provide information on who at that company they have relationships with, if they're a happy and healthy account, or what their sales cycle was like. If they can provide me with some helpful insights, perhaps I can win these opportunities back. In the spirit of partnerships and reciprocity, you can also create the same reports but in reverse, comparing your customers with their open opportunities so that you can possibly provide intel or warm introductions to help your partners close deals as well. Now that we've built some reports and built one together, let's hear how Carlos Barrero, Strategic Tech Partner Manager at Klaviyo, is managing and building sourced and influence pipeline using opportunity reports.
We had a chat with Carlos Barrero to learn how he uses Crossbeam at Klaviyo. Introduce yourself, Carlos.
Hey everyone, my name is Carlos Barrero, and I'm a Strategic Tech Partner Manager at Klaviyo.
So in the spirit of Crossbeam, we'd like to know, what is your favorite partnership?
My favorite partnership has to be John Bonham and John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin. I'm a musician, and I think they're the best rhythm section in classic rock. So huge fan of what they did.
That's awesome. Can you tell us about your role at Klaviyo?
So at Klaviyo, I work with third-party technology companies that integrate with Klaviyo. I wear several hats, but ultimately I'm focused on helping partners build valuable integrations and grow with Klaviyo.
So what data are you sharing with partners when building opportunity reports?
When we build opportunity reports for partners, some of the columns we share that we find are really helpful in coordinating activities are the sales territory. So for us at Klaviyo, we segment accounts by their gross merchandise value, or GMV, a very common measure for size in the e-commerce industry, and of course, geographical region. Secondly, we'll look at the e-commerce platform that they're using. Klaviyo supports many different integrations with these platforms. So just knowing which is really helpful to think about our positioning. We think about the product and SKU adoption within Klaviyo. Are they using our email marketing channels or SMS marketing channels, or both? And then finally, we're also looking at the account owner, letting our partners know who is the account executive or customer success manager here at Klaviyo that they can communicate with if they are looking for more information or intel.
Gotcha. So what filters do you add to your opportunity reports?
As for filters, we also include the close date. We often just take a a lens that focuses on the current quarter or whatever time horizon makes sense in our relationship with the partner. And then also the sales stage here at Klaviyo. We find that partners can have greater influence earlier in the sales process with Klaviyo. So identifying those where it's relatively early in the discovery and evaluation phase, that's when we can intercept and be most effective.
Great. So how are you managing sourced and influenced pipeline with opportunity reports?
So we use opportunity reports to manage our sourced and influenced pipeline by simplifying the account mapping process and identifying those ideal customer profiles per partner. Not every partner serves the same customer segment. Some may focus more upmarket or downmarket. So having that opportunity report data helps us understand which partners are a good fit for which customers within Klaviyo's customer base. To give you an idea of how we're doing this with partners today, we're currently running an experiment with a few where we ask partners to identify 2 ideal customer profiles within their prospects and our customers. The first one is their easy wins. In other words, what are the slices of the Crossbeam data or anything that's coming from their CRM that identify, hey, this is a slam dunk for that particular partner and where an introduction is most likely to close. And then secondly would be that aspirational ICP or that ideal customer profile where they're trying to get to through some strategic moves, product developments, or rebranding down the line. And we can set alerts for both of those. And that way, we can help each other manage that pipeline for those easy wins and that aspirational segment. Another idea is using Crossbeam's custom populations feature to find mutual agency partners to support go-to-market activities, especially if the integration is perhaps a little bit more technical in nature and needs developer support that agencies and SIs, solution integrators, are better positioned to help with.
How are you driving co-selling activities using opportunity reports?
As our tech partner team was growing this year and we were starting to explore opportunity report data, we are taking an experimental approach with several departments across the company and with partners. So some of these experiments are the following. One is building custom report notifications in shared Slack channels with select elite partners. This has been a really cool, nifty feature where we kind of set it and forget it. And within this Slack channel, it'll automatically tag the account executive or account owner at Klaviyo or at the partner to immediately introduce or prime a conversation between those folks. A second idea is running weekly emails aimed at account executives here internally that focus in our largest regions, EMEA, APAC, and North America, that are focused upmarket and really helping isolate those high value priority accounts for them where we've identified there's an overlap with a partner. That helps, again, prioritize which accounts for them make sense to bring in that partner and helps introduce that partner to a high impact team here at Klaviyo. And a last experiment here is auto-generating target lists for our BDRs, our business development reps, where perhaps they're trying to re-engage a cold lead or cold prospect that's already been in our CRM. In other words, focusing in on prospects of ours that are already a customer of a partner that maybe has launched a new integration or has updated an integration. We use a few tools to do that and automate that internally, specifically Crossbeam's integration with Snowflake, our internal data warehouse, and Coefficient, a tool that queries Snowflake and drops all that stuff automatically into a Google Sheet. So a lot of efficiencies gained there by using opportunity reports.
That's great. Anything else you'd like to add?
Thank you to Crossbeam for having me at Connector Summit. Humbled to be among the partnership pundits today. If you'd like to connect with me on LinkedIn, please do so. Happy to connect with you.
Awesome. Thanks for dropping by, Carlos.
Those were some great insights from Carlos at Klaviyo. I hope you enjoyed my session, How to Forecast and Manage Sourced and Influenced Pipeline in Crossbeam. We covered the definition of pipeline mapping, how to get started with opportunity reports, examples of reports, how to build an opportunity report, and real-world examples from Carlos Barrero at Klaviyo. Thanks for joining me.
Hey everyone, I'm Meg McGrath and I'm a Strategic Customer Success Manager here at Crossbeam. Thank you so much for joining my session on how to ignite co-selling and collaboration with reps in Salesforce. Today we're going to talk about 4 popular co-selling plays that you can run by making Crossbeam data available in your Salesforce instance. We're also going to cover some real-world examples and best practices from Samantha Samuels, who's a VP of Partnerships at Frontvibe. And before we get started, I have to share my favorite partners, which are pizza and red wine, because in my opinion, there is no better way to spend your Friday night. Maybe that's a sign that I'm old now, but let's dig in. So in this session, we're going to cover an overview of how you can use Crossbeam within your Salesforce instance. Plus, we're going to cover 4 co-selling plays for you and your team to run. The first is how to boost outbound conversions with partner-led messaging. The second is how to swap warm introductions with your partners. The third is exchanging intel on active deals to move them forward. And the fourth is how to activate integrations for your current customers. And just to call out, all of this assumes that you've completed your Crossbeam onboarding journey. So that means that you've connected a data source, you've connected with at least one partner, you've created your standard populations, and you're sharing data with a partner and receiving data back from them. And then finally, this is also assuming that you've installed the Salesforce integration and are ready to get going. All right, so first I'm going to give you an overview on how to integrate Crossbeam data into Salesforce. Our customers typically want to see Crossbeam data in Salesforce to enrich account views and action insights across your go-to-market teams where they're already working. So the first way that we do this is through the Crossbeam widget. This helps keep partnerships top of mind for your go-to-market teams by making partnership insights available on the accounts, leads, contacts, and opportunities objects. So here on the right, you can see the widget on the account page for my prospect, SKU Vault. I can see where SKU Vault is overlapping with my partners, along with partner tags and other details that'll give me deeper insights on this account. Again, we can see these Crossbeam insights right where I'm already working, and it's going to keep our reps focused and efficient. And our second Salesforce capability is the custom object. Here's a view of what that looks like. The custom object allows you to build detailed reports, trigger workflows, and build partnership performance dashboards by sending data into this custom object. Today in this session, we're going to be focusing on the widget, but my colleague Adali is going to be going through how to build reports and dashboards using this custom object in another session. So definitely stay tuned for that. All right, so now I'm going to show you how you can actually get this integration enabled and some of the customization settings that we have available. So when you log into your Crossbeam instance, you're going to be on your home page, but we want to head over to the integrations tab here on the right. And you're going to see a whole host of integrations that we have available, but today we're obviously focusing on the Salesforce integration we have here. And so to get started, you're going to click into your settings and then enable your integration. And one really awesome thing that we have here is the ability for you to customize what data actually hits the widget. So you can really keep your sellers focused on the partnership insights that you're ready to go to market with and keep them efficient and just looking at the right stuff. So firstly, I can choose which populations from my data that I want to send over. And then here I can also choose which of my partner data I want to hit the widget as well. So you can do that broadly with our standard populations here, or even on a specific partnership level with their populations as well. So for example, let's say Hover is a newer partner of mine. We're evaluating a tech integration, but we're not really ready to go to market with them. I don't really want these insights pushed to my sellers yet because I want to keep them focused on the partners that we're really mature and ready to go with. I can exclude the Hover data for now until we're ready to have them go to market with us. And so it's just a simple click to make sure that I have a really curated view for my sellers. Another way you can keep sellers focused on target accounts and ops is by controlling who can or cannot see data in the widget or the Open in Crossbeam button. And you do this through enhanced permission sets that we have in Salesforce. All right, let's dive into these plays. First up, we have play number 1 on how to boost outbound conversions with partner-led messaging. Let's say your SDRs are having some trouble getting into some key accounts. They can use the widget to see which of their target prospects are also customers of your tech partners. It's like giving your SDRs X-ray vision into a prospect's tech stack. Instead of them reaching out completely cold with generic messaging, they can customize their outreach by including the better together messaging, highlighting your technical integration, and your joint value proposition. Here's my contact, Gianni Benitez, who's a prospect of mine from SKU Vault. Through the widget on the right, I can see that SKU Vault is a customer of Holver, who we have an awesome integration with. Instead of going in cold, I'm going to customize my messaging to Gianni to highlight that Holver integration and further demonstrate that joint value proposition. This can also be a great revenue conversion play, especially if your SDRs are comparing free accounts or trying to, push a paid technical integration. Some of our most successful customers like FriendBuy, who you're going to hear from later, Vidyard, and Rollworks are using partner-led messaging approaches like this as opposed to going in completely cold. It's yielding really great results like a 45% increase in outbound opportunities and a 20% higher response rate for outbound emails. Finally, what do you want to include in one of these partner-led outbound emails? Samantha Samuels, who's the VP of Partnerships at FriendBuy, suggests a couple of things. The first is an acknowledgement that your platform is integrating with your tech partner's product. You really want to show that value proposition of that technical integration, and it's always great to throw in some social proof to establish credibility there. That could be a case study, a blog post, maybe some customer testimonials. And then finally, you want to obviously include the call to action for your prospect to book a meeting with your team. All right, and some pro tips when using this play. Firstly, you want to be a good partner. A lot of that is transparency. So you just want to let your partner know that you're testing out this approach to help drive your integration demand and activations, and just making sure they're on board before you get started. The second is to be subtle in your messaging. We have an example here from Rollworks on how they're messaging to their prospects about a joint integration that they have with HubSpot. You'll see here that it's not super overt in mentioning that they know the prospect is a HubSpot customer, but it's really just highlighting their integration, the Better Together story, and allowing their SDRs to reach out with more targeted and custom messaging to their prospects to break through noise. All right, on to play number 2 on how to swap warm introductions with a partner. So you want to help your AEs get warm introductions into target accounts by seeing which of their prospects are customers of your partners. And remember, partnerships are always going to be a two-way street. You want to make sure that you're giving warm introductions as much as you're requesting them. So keep that reciprocity in mind. Here on my screen, you can see my prospect SKU Vault. You all know we're trying to break into them. And I can see that my partner Holver already has SKU Vault as a customer. So here I can click into the widget and view more details to see if this is a potential account that Holver may be able to help me out with an introduction. From there, you really want to work with your partners to understand what the best way to make an introduction would be. Is it going to be through a LinkedIn message, maybe in person at an upcoming conference, or through the old-fashioned way with an email intro? A good way to maintain that reciprocity is by keeping a healthy dialogue between you and your partners through regular check-ins, agendas, and goals for your meetings. One thing that we always recommend is adding a request for warm intros agenda item to make sure that you're both giving and getting every time that you meet and making sure that everything is reciprocal and level. One thing I definitely want to plug is this co-selling checklist that we have for you all. This is a great way to just make sure that your meetings are valuable and you're both getting out what you need in your joint partnership. All right, on to our next pro tip. So we always recommend leveraging templates and pre-written messaging to make the intro swap frictionless. For example, if Holver does agree to intro me to SKU Vault, it would be really great if I had pre-made messaging that I could give to them and they could use to contact their customer directly without really doing any extra work. The email could include information about my company, use cases for our integration, some Better Together messaging, and then, of course, a call to action asking the customer if they'd be open to an introduction. The partner manager at Holver could fire that off, and if the customer is cool with an introduction, they can introduce you and the AE in the next email. All right, so let's get started with play number 3. Here we're going to focus on exchanging partner intel on active deals to help move them forward. Your AEs can help move your deals forward by seeing which of your partners have relationships at their open opportunities. In other words, which of your partners can help influence your deals. So let's say a deal's gone dark, become a little competitive, and your reps really want to get intel to get some extra backup and keep things moving in the right direction. You can use the widget to do this. So you'll see on my screen here, I have an open opportunity with Content Square. And in the widget, I can see that my partner, Bozala, has Content Square as a customer, and they also have an open opportunity. So Maybe they're, expanding their use cases with an upsell or approaching renewal, and they might have multiple contacts that they may be able to give me a little bit of information on, or perhaps even make an introduction. I would love to connect with my AE or some other partner folks at Opazala to understand, who the decision makers might be that they're working with, giving me any intel on, previous procurement experiences, budget, what have you. Ideally, they could also be a reference and put in a good word for our product as well. And then additionally here, another selling point that I might want to be able to highlight is, our technical integration. That could also help influence the deal as well. So pro tip for this play is to attend your reps pipeline meetings to identify which opportunities you might want to engage partners with for a little bit of extra help. You can just really be a fly on the wall during these meetings and listen for deals that are stuck, could use a little extra help. And then you can even just pull up the widget right during those calls to identify which partners might be a good fit to help out and give you a little bit of intel to move things forward. All right, and here we are at play number 4, activating new integrations. This is a play that is near and dear to my heart because as a CSM, I'm always thinking about how I can get my customers to activate new integrations so that, they're stickier in the product and they're also getting more value. So here your CSMs can drive integration activation by tapping into partner data within the widget. Let's say I have a call with Matomo, who's my customer, and I want to see what integrations might be a good fit for them to turn on this quarter. I can go check out the widget and see which of my partners also have Matomo as a customer and identify which may be a good tech fit to bring up on the call and see if they'd be interested in activating this integration. Pro tip for this one is, again, we know integration adoption improves stickiness and retention, so you really want to align your customer success team's incentives with integration activation. So one thing we always suggest is to collaborate with your customer success lead to build OKRs to really push integration adoption. For example, let's say there's a KPI for each CSM to activate 3 integrations per customer. This is really going to encourage your CSMs to actively seek out this information through the widget, identify which partners might be good for, integration adoption, and help them hit that goal. And that rounds out our plays. So let's hear from Samantha Samuels, the VP of Partnerships at FriendBuy, to learn how her team is driving similar co-selling motions.
We had a chat with Samantha Samuels to understand how she uses Crossbeam at FriendBuy. Introduce yourself, Samantha.
Hi, I'm Samantha Samuels, and I am the VP of Partnerships at FriendBuy.
So in the spirit of Crossbeam, what is your favorite partnership?
So my favorite partnership is Ben Cohen and Jerry Greenfield, also known as Ben & Jerry's. Ben & Jerry's partnership not only has delighted ice cream lovers all over the country, but they also donate 8% of their earnings to nonprofits.
So tell us about your role at FriendBuy.
So I'm responsible for identifying and cultivating strategic partnerships with companies in the MarTech ecosystem. And I work cross-functionally with engineering, partner marketing, customer success, and sales.
So how did you get your internal teams bought into using the Crossbeam widget?
First, I sent a very long email to our CEO and head of finance requesting budget to pay for Crossbeam so we could leverage the Salesforce widget and I highlighted, probably in more excruciating detail than needed, the current state of affairs and how difficult it was for us to engage partners without this widget. And then I shared what I believed would be the biggest value adds to help bring in new business, help reduce churn, and increase integration adoption. And about 5 minutes later, I got an email saying, "This is approved." I'd be happy to share a copy of this email for anyone who's interested.
What processes have you improved most from getting partner data into Salesforce?
Our processes have dramatically improved, both internally and externally, since being able to include the Crossbeam widget on FriendBuy's account and opportunities objects in Salesforce. I attend our weekly sales pipeline meetings, and now we can see in real time which open opportunities are customers of our partners, and I can act much more quickly to engage our partners to keep deals moving. In addition to lunch and learns, I've started scheduling 15-minute meetings with AEs and CSMs at our strategic partners to review our Better Together deck and educate them about FriendBuy, let them know that we exist and could be a really huge value add to their prospects and customers. So from this new motion, we've seen about a 30% increase in new partner sourced opportunities.
So how are your SDRs using partner data in Salesforce?
Our SDRs are huge fans of the Crossbeam widget in Salesforce. We can now generate reports in Salesforce to see which of our prospects are customers of our partners. And we used to only be able to rely on tools like BuiltWith or ETL Insights to generate leads, but now with Crossbeam and Salesforce, we can generate much more highly qualified account lists and create outreach sequences that include partner-led messaging. And using partner-led messaging in our outbound processes has led to a 45% increase in new qualified opportunities.
How are your AEs using partner data in Salesforce?
So our AEs are now making friends with the AEs and CSMs over at our partners to help with deals. So for example, if one of our AEs is speaking with a high value prospect, I'll ask the partner manager to help make an introduction to the CSM who's managing that customer. And then the CSM and our AE will get on a call together with partner managers from both teams as well. And there are typically 2 items on the agenda. Agenda item 1 is the CSM provides insight into how the customer is leveraging their technology, any strategic goals our team should know about, and then our AE typically comes prepared with a set of questions to ask the CSM. The second part of the call is our partner team will highlight the value of our integration to the CSM because they're more often than not aware of FriendBuy or the value that our integration provides. So the CSM can serve as a champion of FriendBuy when speaking with their customer.
And are your CSMs using partner data too?
Our customer success team uses the Crossbeam widget in Salesforce to see which of their customers are now also customers of our tech partners. This has been a huge value add for our team because now our CSMs can come to their customer strategy calls armed with relevant strategic recommendations for how their customers can get even more out of FriendBuy by leveraging automation with their tech stack. Our partner team actually creates what we call workflow recipes, which is essentially a step-by-step help doc that outlines exactly how customers can leverage these automated workflows. And then we supplement these workflows with high-level slides to share in the sales process and then in meetings with customers.
Thanks for dropping by, Samantha. Anything you'd like to add?
Thank you so much for having me at the Connector Summit. Please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn if you want to chat more about partnerships.
And that's a wrap to my session, How to Ignite Co-Selling and Collaboration with Reps in Salesforce. As a recap, we covered an overview of how you can use Crossbeam within your Salesforce instance, 4 plays for co-selling, and we learned some killer co-selling insights from Samantha Samuels at FriendBuy. I really hope you guys enjoy using these plays. Let us know how they go, and thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, everyone. I am Gidali Berlin. I'm a customer success manager here at Crossbeam. Thanks for joining my session, How to Activate Ecosystem Insights with Reports and Dashboards in Salesforce. Very exciting. Today, I'm going to show you how to put partner data in motion for your go-to-market teams using reports and performance dashboards in Salesforce. Before we do that, a little bit about my favorite partnership. A fresh slice of fish on a cozy little bed of rice. Okay, a little abstract. Talking about sushi, of course, the oldest partnership. Maybe have it for lunch today. All right, let's kick things off. In this session, we'll cover a couple things. We're going to have a quick overview of how you can use Crossbeam with Salesforce. I'll give you some tips and reminders for getting started with the Crossbeam Overlaps custom object. I'll show you some examples of reports to build in Salesforce, and I'll actually walk you through building a report from scratch. And then we're going to look at how to use partner dashboards. Just a reminder, all of this assumes that you've completed Crossbeam account setup, including connecting Salesforce as a data source, building your populations, and connecting with at least one partner that is sharing data with you. And finally, this assumes that you have the Crossbeam Salesforce integration installed in your Salesforce instance. Our customers integrate Crossbeam overlap data with Salesforce to enrich account views and action insights across go-to-market teams. There are two ways to do this and can be combined for maximum effect. First, you could use the Crossbeam widget. That's the lightning component, the inline frame in your Salesforce views. The widget helps keep partnerships top of mind for go-to-market teams by making partner data available on accounts, leads, contacts, and opportunities in Salesforce. This means that the data lives where the reps already work, keeping them focused and efficient. The second way is with our custom object. Now, this is the custom object receiving data from Crossbeam right into your Salesforce instance, which allows you to build detailed reports, trigger workflows, and create partnership performance dashboards. Today, we'll be focusing on the reports and dashboards you can create by leveraging the Crossbeam custom object in Salesforce. A couple of tips for getting started. So, tip one, you're going to want to identify the right stakeholders in your organization to help you get set up. You want to know who to go to internally to help you get started. So think someone like a Salesforce administrator, partner ops, rev ops. Keep in mind that a Salesforce administrator will need to assign the permission set called Crossbeam Report User to you before you can use the Crossbeam report types. That said, I just want to emphasize that once you have that permission set, you do not have to wait for anyone to build report templates or do any kind of custom work for you. You can start building a foundation for reports and templates right away. Okay. Second tip, if you're not already, get familiar with your Salesforce instance. You want to know what data is available to you in your instance and start thinking about how you might want to use that for reporting purposes. Think about what types of reports you're already viewing today that would be even better if you could filter on or overlay partner data. And a final reminder, this functionality is only available to customers on Crossbeam's Supernode pricing plan. So now I'm actually going to show you how to get started and build a Crossbeam report from scratch. All right, so from Salesforce, you're going to want to click on the Reports tab. In the Reports tab, you're going to click the New Report button. In the following screen, you're going to want to make sure that you're in the All selection, not recently used. That sometimes defaults and confuses people. Once you're in the All section, search for Crossbeam, and here it will show you the Crossbeam report types. If you're not seeing this, it means that your administrator has not given you that permission set I mentioned earlier. Let's go ahead with Crossbeam Overlaps with Account, which is a report type that's going to combine the Crossbeam Overlaps custom object with your standard account object, and we'll click Start Report. Once your report has loaded, you're going to want to click this link, Show All Crossbeam Overlaps, which should make some data load for you. I also advise that you flip on Update Preview automatically so you could see things dynamically in your preview while you're working on it. If you didn't get data loading here, head over to the Filters tab. Make sure you have all Crossbeam overlaps selected and all time selected. When you're seeing some data, the first thing I would do actually is remove this column that appears by default. You don't need it. Now, I suggest that you expand this ribbon on the left-hand side, which says Fields. This is the Field Explorer. This is going to show you all the fields that you have available to you when you're working on this report. You'll see the Crossbeam overlap fields, and as you scroll down, you'll see all the other account fields that you know and love. So I'm going to get started by adding two really important fields: partner name and partner population. So with these two data points alone, I already have a very interesting partnership ecosystem report. It's going to show me all of my accounts where a partner has a relationship and what is the nature of that relationship. Who has this account as an open opportunity? Who has it as a customer? Okay, then you're going to want to add additional fields that are going to be useful for you and make this report more tactical for yourself. Consider adding account owner. If your partner is sharing with you the name of their owner, you could feel free to add that one as well. It's called partner AE name. Now, this report does not have too many parameters on it, pretty much just any account that has a Crossbeam overlap. So head over to the filters tab and make it more prescriptive, make it more useful and tactical for yourself. One thing I'm going to do here is filter on partner population, because I don't really care to see my partner's prospects. I want to see my partner's customer. So I'm going to make the operator a bit more fuzzy. So have it say contains instead of equals. And then when I type in my criteria, I'm going to make it a little bit fuzzy as well. So just call it customer instead of customers, because some of your partners might be using different naming conventions. With that filter added, I'm going to start seeing accounts where my partners have a customer relationship. So with those few simple steps, you basically have the foundations of an important partner ecosystem report. Continue filtering down on this to make it more useful for yourself. Add other fields that are going to be useful for you to see, and then go ahead and save this report for yourself so you could come back to it later. For some more inspiration, let's take a look at two more examples of tactical reports. This first one, we call this EQLs, Ecosystem Qualified Leads by Account Executive. You can use this report to help your account executives know where to focus. They can more easily prioritize the accounts they should target for a given week, month, or quarter. They could prioritize which partners they may want to possibly co-sell with based on their existing relationships at an account. You can also build a similar report to this for your business development team, your SDRs, to answer questions like, how do our prospects overlap with our partners' customers? Can we use that partner intelligence for more personalized messaging? How can we leverage those partners to bridge warm introductions? This other report, Customers by Partner and Region, will show you all of your customers that overlap with a given partner. In this example, Bozala, focusing in on specific regions. So let's say perhaps we're focused on driving expansion revenue in LATAM. We can identify potential cross-sell or upsell opportunities into those accounts based on Bozala's relationships with those same accounts. Some other reports you may want to consider. A closed won review. Take a look at opportunities that were recently closed where your partners had a customer or were also working an opportunity. Use this report to check in with your sales team to make sure they are giving credit where credit is due. Get that partner influence attribution. Aging opportunities report. Use this report to strategize with your sales team. Your partners may be able to give you an assist on opportunities that are dragging. Can they introduce you to the right economic buyer? Maybe they could provide some other helpful context that would move the deal along. An integration adoption report. Run a list of mutual customers with your technology partners, narrowing in on customers who have not yet enabled the integration. Feed this list to your marketing and customer success teams to improve integration adoption and customer satisfaction. What's great is that we can now take all of these reports and turn them into a graphical representation in a dashboard. You can use dashboards to attribute revenue to partnerships. You can link revenue to partner relationships and source introductions into new accounts for your reps. Identify opportunities to bring partners into active deals and get their influence. And give your leadership team a bird's eye view into partnership performance, which helps build trust and credibility, otherwise known as buy-in. So what we're looking at right here is an example of a partnership dashboard that you can build in Salesforce. There are a couple of different components here that I want to walk you through. So the first one is EQLs, those ecosystem qualified leads that I mentioned. These show how many cold prospects you have that are customers of or are actively engaged in a sales cycle with your partners. There's a potential here for warm introductions, for intelligence sharing, even just a high-level tech stack view to give your sales team the edge in their outreach. The partner influenced open pipeline section gives you the total dollar value of opportunities that you're currently working on where a partner has a customer or an active relationship. It's a measure of the potential influence our partners could have in our pipeline. The ecosystem market overlap. This shows the breakdown of where our customers are mapping across our partner ecosystem. It gives insights into how we can assist our partners, where we have a lot of commonalities, and indicates where we should focus our efforts. The integrations one on the bottom left there, that's going to give you a quick overview of where integration adoption is looking strong, and it'll help you identify mutual customers that should be targeted for enabling your integration. Now, all of this might look a little bit daunting and complicated for people that have never done it before, but if you have built out some reports, you're already most of the way there. Simply create a new dashboard or edit an existing one. Select a report by clicking Add Component, and then configure your graphical interpretation. Salesforce makes this very easy for you. I'm going to click Add, and here it is, appearing on the bottom. So I just want to emphasize that you don't have to wait around for RevOps. You can do this yourself. And that's a wrap to my session, How to Activate Ecosystem Insights with Reports and Dashboards in Salesforce. As a recap, we covered a quick overview of how to enrich Salesforce views with Crossbeam overlap data, some tips for getting started using Crossbeam's custom object, examples of how to build reports, what types of tactical reports you should be building, and finally, how to use a partner dashboard. Now, get to building. Thanks for joining me at the Connector Summit.
Hey, it's break time. Enjoy some partnership facts while you wait.
Shayna Thompson, and I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager here at Crossbeam. Thanks so much for joining my session on how to source and convert pipeline in HubSpot. Today, I'm going to show you how to identify and close more partner source and influence deals by sending your Crossbeam data into HubSpot. And you'll also learn how Ed Sabalos, who is head of partnerships at Everflow, is running highly targeted campaigns and then helping his reps move deals forward with our HubSpot integration. Before we get started, let me tell you about one of my favorite partnerships, Dax Shepard and Monica Padman. They are the hosts of my favorite podcast, which is called Armchair Expert. And if you want to check them out on Spotify, I would recommend listening to this guy, my favorite, Matthew McConaughey. In this session, we'll cover a brief overview of our outbound integration with HubSpot, how to run targeted campaigns with automated list creation, and how to build partnership reports. And remember, this all assumes that you've completed your Crossbeam account setup, including connecting to a data source, connecting with at least one partner, creating standard populations, and sharing data with at least one partner. And to leverage Crossbeam reports, your partner will also need to share data with you. This also assumes that your HubSpot admin has installed our HubSpot outbound integration from our partner cloud. I'd like to start by giving you an overview of our outbound HubSpot integration. It includes two main capabilities, and it is available beginning at our connector paid tier. The first piece is the list creation, where you can send partner data from Crossbeam reports into HubSpot to automatically and dynamically create partner-specific contact lists across your prospects, customers, and joint opportunities. And this assumes that you have the HubSpot Professional Edition or higher. The second capability is the orchestration enrichment. Here you can send partner data from Crossbeam into a HubSpot custom object to trigger workflows, sales follow-up tasks, and create reporting dashboards. This assumes that you have the HubSpot Enterprise Edition. And we recommend getting assistance from your HubSpot admin to install and configure the Crossbeam HubSpot integration. All right, now let's dive into how you can run targeted co-marketing campaigns in HubSpot. Today, you might have to compare spreadsheets, agree upon the right contacts for your next co-marketing campaign, and then upload the list manually into HubSpot. And this can take days or even weeks sometimes. So let me show you how to accelerate this process through automated list creation in HubSpot. So let's say that I'm a partner manager at CrowdBlossom and I've already account mapped with my partner Bazala. We've now decided that we want to host a webinar together, and I'm going to compare my prospects to Bazala's customers as I really want to drive ecosystem qualified leads to this webinar. So I'll save this report as the ecosystem qualified leads for Bazala. Then I'll navigate to my integrations tab. And here we've assumed that our HubSpot admin has already installed it. And I'll go to my settings to see that that report either is there or I'll have to add it. And this is going to automatically and dynamically push it into a contact list within HubSpot. Here I can work with my marketing team to take that list from my Crossbeam report and ensure that the right audience is included. If there are contacts that should not be a part of this list, your HubSpot admin can always use a suppression list to make sure that this partner-specific campaign is going to the right people. You can also use this feature to support other use cases, such as announcing a joint integration for your mutual customers, or inviting mutual prospects to a co-marketing webinar, or inviting mutual customers to a co-marketing event like a fireside chat or a co-sponsored happy hour. Now let's talk about how you can build partnership reports with HubSpot data enrichment. Here you can push your populations from Crossbeam into a custom object to be able to give your reps visibility on your partner relationships with their prospects and customers, and then action that data directly in HubSpot. Let's say that my sales leadership team wants to know how Bazala is doing in sourcing ecosystem qualified leads to the rest of the ecosystem. Here I'll work with my HubSpot admin to be able to create a report to give them visibility. Let's dive into HubSpot. Here I'll work with my HubSpot admin to create a report directly within HubSpot. I'll use my custom report builder because I'm using my Crossbeam Overlaps custom object and my company's standard object to build the report. Since I know that my sales leadership team likes to use pie charts to compare, we'll go ahead and use that setting and then also use the partner name to break down the report. Since we care most about the number of overlaps each partner is bringing to the table, we'll choose the count of Crossbeam overlaps. We can also choose other fields such as company owner or my account executive, my population, my partner population, and my partner name to be able to report and filter on this data. We'll go ahead and filter by the population and by my partner population. And my sales leadership team really cares about driving ecosystem qualified leads. So we'll filter our population so that it only contains prospect information. For our partner population, we'll go ahead and filter by their customers, since we really care about the relationships that they have with their customers and how they can help us get into those accounts. Here I'll be able to see that Bazala holds about 38% of the pie or 178 Crossbeam overlaps, and I can use this data to justify asking for additional sales and marketing resources. I can even drill into this report, and I can filter by company owner or account executive to work with my account executives like Sasha Parker to be able to break into their accounts faster, using my Bazala contacts to provide warm introductions or additional information on the account. Once I create one report, I can also create additional reports within HubSpot and then start to build out dashboards. When I drill into these reports, the first one is the ecosystem qualified leads. This report shows us where we should be prioritizing our time and co-selling efforts. It looks like Bazala and Holver have the highest number of overlaps, and we should probably double down our co-selling conversations with them. The second is mutual customers, where we can use this report to prioritize integrations we should be building next, identify cross-sell or upsell opportunities, or we can pull in customer health data to salvage these accounts and prevent churn. The third report shows my overlaps for Bazala by account executives. Here I can help my account executives prioritize co-selling opportunities. Now let's hear from Ed Ceballos, Head of Partnerships at Everflow, who'll share how his marketing and sales teams are using Crossbeam's outbound HubSpot integration to source ecosystem qualified leads and push deals forward.
We had a chat with Ed Ceballos to understand how he uses Crossbeam at Everflow. Introduce yourself, Ed.
Hi, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today at Crossbeam Connector. My name is Ed Ceballos, and I am the Head of Partnerships at Everflow.
In the spirit of Crossbeam, we'd like to know, what is your favorite partnership?
Well, I know it might sound cheesy, but definitely my best partnership is my wife. I've been married to her for 28 years. That's why it's my rock, my best partnership ever.
Tell us about your role at Everflow.
So I lead the partnerships team. Our function is to accelerate growth by leveraging the different type of relationships we have in the business and put them into motion through the right program.
So how are you automating your co-marketing campaigns?
In an ideal case, is we want anyone on the marketing organization that is running anything to be able to just go and grab the information without asking help for the partner relationship manager or having to never again exchange any spreadsheet, right? That's the ideal use. There is another way where Crossbeam with HubSpot is helping in co-marketing execution, which is the governance. And this is something very practical. All of us who've been using data can recognize this. Is you're making some intros, you're running some campaign with a partner. You don't want to make the mistake of inviting a client that is a shared client with another partner, right? You don't want to make that mistake. So governance is a super important piece. When we talk about execution, the third piece is being able to track and measure. Because all the information is managed in the CRM, and it makes it very easy to tag that these accounts are being worked with this XYZ partner, and it's very easy to consolidate any result of execution of any campaign along the rest of metrics that the business manage.
How are you helping your reps move deals forward?
When it comes to getting the sales teams to use information and using dashboards, we've been through like a little journey. At the beginning, we were more focused on understanding where we overlap. Then we moved to trying to understand how we can simplify planning and executing some co-marketing and co-selling campaigns. But the real opportunity for the long run and the most difficult to achieve is expose the data in a way that the sales teams are going to use themselves. There is an enormous amount of value by getting the sales teams to talk with their counterparts in the partner organization. And we do that mutually, right? We help them, they help us. Just understanding what partners are in the game has a huge impact, because just knowing they're using HubSpot will tell you a lot of things about how we can add value to them. We know the company's a business to business. We know that they are a HubSpot client. Now we can tune the value prop and mention specific things that will be relevant to them.
What metrics do you track in your partnership dashboards?
When it comes to sales, we have general dashboards to understand our account mapping against our entire partner community. And then for the top partners, or the partners where we have a lot of activities, higher volume, we have a specific dashboards where we basically track how our pipeline overlaps with the pipeline of that particular partner, how our pipeline intersects and overlap against the install base, how many white space opportunities are in our funnel or pipeline versus the install base of that partner. And we also track total number of overlap accounts, and we also track the intro requests, because it's super interesting to get a sense of how many accounts we're asking, how many accounts they are referring to us, because it brings a sense of the current activity with them.
Thanks for dropping by, Ed. Anything you'd like to add?
Thanks, everyone. I really love joining you today. And if you feel like contacting me and share any of your best practices, or ask me anything about what we're doing, I'm happy to share. You can connect me on LinkedIn. And again, thanks for the Crossbeam team for the opportunity to share and collaborate with the extended community.
Okay, great. That concludes my session on how to source and convert pipeline in HubSpot. Today, we reviewed a brief overview of our outbound integration with HubSpot, how to run targeted campaigns with automated list creation, how to build partnership reports, and we got some insights from Ed Sabalos at Everflow. We hope you enjoyed this session. Thanks for joining us.
Be sure to stick around for a very special announcement at the end of the summit.
Hi everyone, it's me again, Amanda Groves, and I am here to bring our first ever Connector Summit to a close. But before I do that, I just wanted to spend some time to thank you for being a part of this first Connector Summit. Without you, there would truly be no summit, and we really appreciate your support in making this first event for us so memorable. There were tons of learnings, experiences, connections, and aha moments, and even better, you all got the first look at our new co-selling product, Sales Edge. We hope you're so excited about all of the learnings you got here today and how you can put your overlaps in Crossbeam to good use. But before we part ways, we just couldn't help ourselves. We have one more special announcement up our sleeves. Drum roll, please. I am so proud to share your new go-to learning spot, the Crossbeam Academy. The Academy is like a masterclass for building Crossbeam expertise. You can expect personalized training and enablement courses for Crossbeam beginners, advanced users, and everyone in between. You'll see immersive, hands-on learning experiences with choose-your-own-adventure course styles. You'll also see dynamic, bite-sized learning paths that make new-to-you concepts in Crossbeam stick with interactive videos, walkthroughs, and more. And as a special token of our appreciation, the first 100 Connector Summit attendees to finish a Crossbeam Academy course is going to get a really special gift from us. To get started, it's super easy. Just visit the website, academy.crossbeam.com. And there you have it. That officially wraps our first ever Connector Summit. Keep an eye out for some follow-ups from us along with guidance on how to view all the on-demand content you saw here today. Thanks again for joining us, and we will see you here next year.